I'd like to point out that I'm very sorry for being smart today. But I've got to be smart for something later.
No, that's all right. No, I'm sorry for not being smart. I'm wearing the cameraman's jumper. Not that he isn't smart. Well, he's smarter now. He's not wearing the jumper. But I was wearing a jumper that I've used for too many things, to be honest.
Do you have a one-liner or a pun involving a clock or involving time?
Yes, I do.
Would you like to share it?
Yes. I went to the watch shop. I said, I want to buy a watch. He said, analog. I said, no, just a watch.
Now,
is that supposed to be moving?
It's not yet.
No.
I'd like to have a one-liner a minute, at least, please.
Okay.
Okay. So we try and slip that in. Here we go. Here's
Not about time each time.
Not about time each time.
No, okay.
Are we ready?
Ready.
Please will you count us down?
Yes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're off.
Why one-liners, Tim?
Why not? I mean, I tell short jokes because it's a shorter journey to the laugh. I find that if I'm saying something that goes on for a very long time and there's no laugh, I get terribly nervous.
You can get a lot
probably
of...
read it in my face now. I'm beside myself. Well, I'm beside myself. There's no other way of being.
You can get a lot of laughs. In
It
fact...
don't sound so surprised. Yes, it can happen.
You did used to hold the world record for number of jokes
In
an
1 hour, yes.
Which was 499
499 jokes, yes. And but I don't hold that record anymore. I held it for about 8 months.
Would you like to regain it? Are you attempting to regain it?
I'm not attempting to regain it. I might do one day. But currently I have a certificate that says I did hold it once. And if I regained it, I'd have 2 certificates.
Quickly, a one-liner, please.
About one-arm butlers. They can take it, but they can't dish it out.
Moving swiftly on,
Yes.
could we talk about the first time you ever came up with a pun or a one-liner?
Well, I think I was on a train coming out of Croydon, which is always a pleasant experience, as is being on a train going into Croydon. But I came up with this. I went down to my local library. I said, I can't get over your books. He said, get off. Well, whatever happened, it was very funny. Get off that shelf. I went down to my local library. I said, I can't get over your books. He said, get off that shelf. It's been that long.
Was there a moment in your life where you just sat down and said, you solemnly said to yourself, I am going to make a career out of one-liners?
No. No, there never was that moment. I just discovered the comedy circuit. Well, I didn't discover it. I can't claim to be the one. It was me. I discovered the comedy circuit. And I just realised that in this great city in London, the comedy scene in the 90s was such a great scene to be part of. When you just discover all these little comedy clubs everywhere, it's very exciting. You think, oh, I like this, So it was more that, I wasn't thinking of doing it as a job. I just thought, oh, I like this little, underworld.
Is there a huge pressure to remembering so many jokes for an act?
Not really a huge pressure because I rehearse. If I hadn't rehearsed,
Yes.
the pressure would be unbearable. In fact, it would be impossible to remember them. But what I do is I also have them written on a piece of paper, and that's normally somewhere nearby, so I can have a little peek if I forget.
So how do you actually remember them? How do you commit them to memory?
Well, I walk around at home. Well, normally I go out, actually. I think so I'm going for a walk. I walk. I don't know why I say that to anyone. But anyway, I walk out maybe for 45 minutes, and I talk to myself next to roads. I've had people think, ask my mum if, is Tim all right? I think I saw him. I think he's lost it.
We are coming up to the end of our 3rd minute. Another one-liner, please.
Right, I went to the dentist. He said, say R. I said, why? He said, my dog's died. Yes.
We're just letting that joke
We'll
go
put
down.
A laugh. Of course,
Yes.
I'm sure you'll put a laugh on the edit. You told me you were going to do.
The target audience. Who is your target audience?
Well, I never use audiences as a target. I think that's terrible. Once you start throwing things at them, they will throw back. But I don't have a target audience. I do what I find funny, first of all, and then if that makes anyone else laugh, then all the better.
What's the key to
There's
a
no
good
key.
pun?
Oh, I see. Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know what the secret formula is. I write lots of rubbish and then I try it all out. You've got to try it all out on an audience. That's the only way of knowing. You ask any comedian, none of them will just write something and then go out on tour with it. You have to go to endless clubs and audiences and just try this stuff out and find out what's funny because they will tell you.
Try one else on me now, please.
On what subject? Give me a subject.
Let's talk about football.
Football. I went to a football match the other day. At the end, they started doing martial arts. I said to the next man, I said, what's going on? He said, there's 2 minutes of ninjury time.
Do you mind when your material gets uploaded onto the internet?
Well, if you mean things like, do you mean like YouTube and stuff like that? Well, do I mind? No, I think it's quite nice to have stuff that's there that people, because everyone likes to have some sort of presence, don't they? Where you can go, let's look up this stuff and see what Tim Vine does or whatever, whoever it is you're looking up. We nearly finished, haven't we? So I don't mind that. I'd rather it wasn't possible to download entire shows for free, but that's currently the way the world's going.
Is there copyright in a one-liner?
If there is, I'm not sure how one enforces it without looking like a whinging grump.
You mentioned earlier, didn't you?
Did I?
Well, targets.
Yes, I did.
You are a big darts fan.
I love darts. Yes.
Do you play a lot?
I do. I play every day. Every day I switch the kettle on and I try and do a 5 or 1, ending on a double before it boils.
And you play a lot of musical instruments, or some?
Yes, every day I put the kettle on and I play a musical instrument before it boils.
Quickly, one more joke.
I was beaten by... Get back!
You carry
Just
on.
put the laugh on and then imagine what the joke would have been like.
We got through 5 minutes without even mentioning that you're the brother of Jeremy Vine.
You had to spoil it, didn't you?
Do you compete with him for Twitter followers?
No, not at all. No. I can't compete with someone who has a national radio show 2 hours a day. That's a bit of a cheat. How am I supposed to compete with that?
I didn't ask you, Tim Vine,
Yes.
whether there was a moment when you decided to become a Christian, or have you always been? As long as you can remember.
Well, no, I think that maybe I used to go on these things called Pathfinder camps that were connected with churches. I mean, they still do Pathfinder camps. Basically, it's like summer camp for kids, and you go along and it's all sort of activities and messing about and canoes and goodness knows what. And then in the evening, there's a little sort of, sing-song to God or whatever. I say whatever. To God, all right? Let me nail my colours to the mast. But so I would say maybe I was 12 when I felt like, this seems to make sense to me. And that's kind of from the point at which I probably prayed a bit before that as well, but from that point on I remember making some sort of decision, I suppose you could say. But I mean, I'm a hopeless muddle like everybody else, but it seems to make sense to me.
Tim Vine, very good to see you.
Lovely to see you as well. Aren't eyes a wonderful thing?